chances are, as a man, if you're reasonable, if you're knowledgeable, if you understand the risks of a woman being fully submissive with a man, you can try to be understanding of the situation. Like, you know what? Hey, you know what? I want her to choose me for logical reasons. That's bullshit. I'm going to keep it a buck with you. Because at the end of the day, based off of a woman's nature, her makeup, she is going to choose a man who she respects because he goes in whatever direction he's going in, regardless of what direction she wants to go in. And she's going to submit to a man who she sexually desires. When the combination of those two things are there, respect and desire, and when those two things are there, that's when a woman is going to be naturally feminine and submissive with you. Being logical about why she wants you, or being emotional from the aspect of you giving her emotional validation, is not going to make that woman be feminine and submissive with you. Women fall in love with men all the time who they do not respect and they do not sexually desire. And a lot of the times those are good girls. That doesn't mean that they're bad women. It doesn't mean that. All it means is that she's emotional, and she may have been in a place of insecurity or in a low place, where she didn't feel comfortable being fully expressive with her sexuality, and she didn't feel safe enough and secure enough to be able to be feminine and submissive with a man. So she chose a man who pursued her and who gave her a lot of love and affection and validation, right? What you have to think about it as a man is this. This is what you got to think about. It does not matter. It does not matter if other men abuse the fact that they have good dick or game. It doesn't mean that you then need to decide that you want a woman to deal with you from a logical perspective. Because guess what? That man who's got good dick and game, guess what? She's still going to feel more strongly about him than she is going to be towards you. She's going to be more submissive towards him than she's going to be towards you, even if she loves you. Now, over an extended period of time, the situation may be a little bit less toxic, right? So she may be more willing to be supportive with you over an extended period of time. You know what I mean? She may have less confliction within herself about dealing with you, which means that the relationship may have a longer shelf life. But that doesn't mean that while she's dealing with that man, that her sexual desire comes from a intrinsic, natural place. That's not what that means. You get what I'm saying? A woman can be with a man and sex can feel like a chore. She can love that man and sex can feel like a chore. A woman can be with a man and value him as a person, right? She can value him as a person, but although she values him as a person, when he say jump, she's gonna say, nigga, what? You must have knocked your head this morning or something. You tell her to jump, she's not gonna ask how high. She's not gonna ask where to. What she's gonna do is say, well, you know what? I love you, so if I need to jump, just tell me why I need to jump, and I might do it, right? Or a woman may say, you know what? Well, if I gotta jump, then you should be jumping too. Why aren't you jumping? You know what? If I gotta jump, why can't you crawl? Right? That's not a woman being feminine and submissive with you. That's bot cooperation, right? And in those type of scenarios, if you make that a long-term relationship, you're going to encounter certain situations in life where you need to get up and go right now. You need to get some shit done. And if she needs you to explain everything before it happens, she's not going to be feminine and submissive with you. It's kind of like if you're walking, right? And you see a car coming by and she's not paying attention. You need to be able to grab her or stop her and say, hey, hold up, car coming, right? If you're talking to a woman and she hears your voice, you say, stop. She doesn't need to keep walking and then think to herself, why does he want me to keep walking? Because she's going to walk right into a car that's coming. If you're not standing directly by her to where you can physically stop her, she's going to get hit. And I know this is just an example, but this example extends to many different areas of life. There is no substitute for having good dick and guidance. there is no substitute for respect and desire. Love is not a substitute for good dick and guidance. So although there are men who abuse the fact that they have good dick, or they have good game, or they not necessarily good game, but they know how to manipulate a woman, or men will abuse the fact that, they have good dick and guidance, but they have those things with women who aren't up to the standard of, who they would actually want to be with long term, right? Men may have good dick and guidance, but they don't know how to mold a woman to be what he needs her to be for his program. A man may have good dick and guidance, or he may have good dick and he only has emotional discipline because it's a woman who he's not that attracted to, or it's a woman who he doesn't think has a good head on her shoulders, or it's a woman who he just doesn't value, or he's just at a place in his life where he's not looking for anything but sex. And a woman will be submissive with that man. But the thing is this, you're not competing for a woman, but you are competing with other men, right? And how you're competing with other men is this: where's your sexual energy? Where are your sexual skills? Do you have a vision? Where is your masculinity? Where's your emotional discipline, right? These are the things that matter. Now, you can still have the ability to be emotionally empathetic, sympathetic, and understanding with a woman. These are things that are great. These are things that you should have. You can still have those things. You should still have those things. But you can't do those things prematurely, because guess what? That's premature integration. Integration is when you do those things at the right time. And I know a lot of guys, when you prematurely integrate it, what a lot of guys do is this: they find themselves in situations and positions to where they're growing up, they're socially programmed, they're socially conditioned. So because they don't feel like they excel at being dominant and masculine as a man, the way they cope with that, the way they try to compensate for that, is to be feminine with women, to try to pursue them emotionally, right? But if you do that too soon, that is the transaction. That is what you're providing to the situation that makes her want to be with you. If that's what you're providing to the situation that makes her want to be with you, that woman is not going to be feminine and submissive with you. You get what I'm saying? She needs to have that lust for you. She needs to have that respect for you, right? And you have to work on yourself as a man to make sure you can evoke that type of response from a woman. You can evoke that feeling within a woman. A woman is going to operate based off of what she feels, right? And what she feels is going to be influenced by her social programming. If she doesn't respect you enough to trade in her social programming for your program, then what's going to happen in those particular situations is her feelings are going to be more influenced by what society says, or people pleasing, or her parents, or her family, or her friends, maybe even her beta male friends. Different people are going to have a different level of influence that's going to cause her to be unable to get on your program. There is no substitute for good dick and guidance. There's none. And I'm going to say this right here too. What I would say about it is this: when you're in that particular type of situation where you're trying to trade in, you know what? I'm going to say this right here too. Sometimes foreplay, eating pussy, shit like that, you should know how to do those things. Those are things that are dope. But if you're doing that because your dick is not enough to get that woman off, that's prematurely integrated, right? If you're relying heavily on foreplay, you're relying heavily on eating pussy, you're relying heavily on these different things other than the dick that is attached to your body to get women off. And you can. Sometimes you don't have no other choice. You might got a micro penis or something like that. But if you don't, if you're relying on something other than that to create that feeling of good dick, pleasure doesn't mean submissiveness, right? Just because you're giving a woman a high level of pleasure, or even because she desires you, does not mean that that woman is getting that effect of good dick, where a woman is getting pushed, right? She's getting pushed in her limits. She's getting pushed in her limitations and growing as a person sexually, and getting taken to that place where she naturally submits to you sexually. That's not what that means, right? It's not what that means. So just because you can eat pussy good doesn't mean that you have a good D. And that's why I say it's good D, not good sex. Now, you can have a great sex game. You can have a great sex game, right? But at the end of the day, when you're dealing with a woman, don't let social programming and society try to manipulate you out of the fact that you need to be sexually compatible with a woman on a penetrative level. A lot of people don't want to hear this shit. I'll say this right here too. If a woman can't come from you fucking her, chances are you two are not truly sexually compatible. Now, that doesn't mean you never can be. You might not be because you're prematurely integrated. I've been in situations to where a woman may have had vaginal orgasms, penetration the first time. Some women, it may have took a few times. Some women, one woman, it took months, right? Because she said she never had one before. All right, cool. About 8 months in, she started having it and she started acting crazy. But then there's another woman, it took years, right? It took years. But after it started happening, guess what? It's like a flip gets switched. It's like a switch gets flipped, right? Once a woman begins having vaginal orgasms from penetration, it's like a switch gets flipped and you almost can't turn it off. It's like squirting. Once a woman starts really squirting for real, once she does it 2, 3, 4 times maybe in a certain period of time, then sometimes a woman will, I've seen women get on Reddit talking about how they couldn't turn it off. Once a woman starts becoming vaginally orgasmic from penetration, it's not really something that she just turns off, right? So what I say is this: if you are not fully sexually compatible with a woman and a woman's not feminine and submissive with you and receptive to your masculine energy, then you yourself are in a position where you're prematurely integrated and you're trading emotion. You may be trading provision. You may be trading protection. You may be trading finances in order to have access to her sexually or in order to have companionship with the woman because you're emotionally needy. So what you need to understand is this: there is no substitute for good dick and guidance. There is no substitute for desire and respect. Just because other men take advantage of women because they have good dick, and they take advantage of women because they have the ability to manipulate a woman's emotions, doesn't mean that all influence, because influence and manipulation are pretty much the same thing, right? Influence and manipulation are pretty much the same thing. A woman can feel influenced just by being in your presence. That doesn't mean that you say, you know what, I don't want to influence a woman because I feel like that's manipulation. And if I influence her, I want her to choose for herself logically. If you want a woman to choose you logically, you are prematurely integrated. You're setting yourself up for a woman to not truly respect you. And you're setting yourself up for a woman to not truly desire you, right? So I'm going to repeat it one more time. There's no substitute for good dick and guidance. And just because other men take advantage of digmatizing women doesn't mean that you shouldn't, right? That doesn't mean that you shouldn't. That's still going to be the level that you're competing with other men on when it comes to dealing with women. That's still going to be the level that your competition is on. If you want to be masculine and dominant, you can compete with other men for feminine things. You can compete with other men to be the man who invests the most in a woman emotionally and financially and giving her the most attention and putting her in the best position in life. That does nothing for her pussy. A woman can love you to death and not get wet from you, right? A woman can love you to death and never have an orgasm and then fuck another guy the same day that she meets him and be busting all over the place every time she fucks with him. I've been that guy. I've been on both sides of the shit. So I understand there is no substitution for good dick and guidance.